Hello, and welcome to the Legend of Mathmatica² Kickstarter. This is day 25, and our numbers are $3,306 and 45 backers with 5 days to go. I believe our numbers have gone up a little bit since last time. We got 2 more people. Color me a little bit surprised. I appreciate it, though. I do. So, yesterday I talked a little bit about tactics for doing stuff on Kickstarter. But there was a couple of things that I didn't actually bring up. In particular, I didn't say anything about playables. Particularly the idea of, if you actually have a prototype of your product that you feel is suitably tested, or at least is relatively strong enough in its core play to give an idea of what you're doing. So let's talk about that for a sec. Firstly, we have the other parts, right? The trailer is the first thing that anybody's ever going to see. And for a lot of people, it's going to be the only thing that they see. They'll look at the trailer, be like, I like that. No, I don't like that. Move on. We talked about that yesterday. But the demo is, theoretically, it should be one of the first things on your page. Because after they look at the trailer and they know what the game is and they know what it's about and maybe they've learned something about your team, the next thing is showing them what your game is. And so if you have a demo, this is the easiest way to do it. The phrase seeing is believing, well, now it's playing is believing. So in this case, you would have your demo, and theoretically you'd have it showing some element of your core play. If your game has multiple play paradigms, say it's a game that has both logistical concepts as well as Twitch concepts, not the channel, not the place where people run around in jacuzzis and bikinis. I know that's not all they do there, but that's what's on the news all the time. Anyway, I digress. Twitch as in, blah, 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 do things quick, do things fast. But if you have both logistical elements and Twitch elements in your game, then you want to make sure that you actually show those off with that small bit of play that you give. Now, for some, it might be showing off a demo, but, that's the first few minutes of your game, and I know for some people, they want to keep that under wraps so that the player has this wow moment that they can talk about to everyone else, which I think that's important because for when you're looking at the player psychographics, right, you've got your Timmys, your Johnnies, and your Spikes. The Timmys, they're playing for an experience. They're playing for a story. So the less you spoil for them, the better, particularly if that's a part of your player demographic. If you're making a game that's for people to experience a story in, a JRPG, for instance, then that's what you would want to do, is you want to make something that doesn't spoil too much, but gives them a taste of the feeling of the story and the gestalt of what they're going to be doing. That's a little bit tough, but yeah, so playables. Get a demo, have it be one of the earlier things on there, so it's like if somebody is, like, say, with the screen that I have right now, and yes, I know we didn't actually do this, but with the screen that we have right now, seeing as you have this right here, right? And your demo would be right underneath where it says story. So instead of having a banner, now granted, we have it immediately following, but still, instead of just having the banner, you have try it out on platform X. Now, this is the other thing, is because of time constraints, we ended up just using one of the distribution platforms to host our demo. Which was itch.io, which I am very appreciative of. I like the fact that you can just kind of put a thing up there and let people try it out. And you can set it up so that they actually do donations and that sort of thing. Actually, I can jump there right now. But yeah, you can do the things, and let's go to edit my game. So you can do a lot of stuff here. Like, you can set it up so that people can donate and or make it so that they can't and do that sort of thing. We chose to make it so that it's no donation, at least for the moment, particularly because we do intend to get the game up on Steam, and Steam has some particular rules about, hey, don't undercut us on other platforms. Like that is in their rules of the road, so to speak. Their price point, whatever price point you put up on theirs, is supposed to be the lowest, or at least the average price point across the board for other places. But yeah, so with that in mind, the other aspect when it comes to Playables is streamers. You know, people like Markiplier or Jacksepticeye or, you know, the like. These guys that, you know, they like having content and they like having things to play, and particularly you want to be pointing at, you'll notice the ones that I listed are guys who tend to jump into indie things. You want to be pointed at people who like playing new and weird games or just playing indie games. And once you've got them playing the game, that's a new audience that you're reaching. And so it's a good idea to, you know, get a streamer playing the thing, because that's another avenue to get one of your super supporters, is out of their audience, somebody sees it and they're like, that's amazing, I want to know how to do this. And so if you provide the streamer with the contact information for your crew and basically say, hey, if anybody wants to know more about this, they can send an email to X location, X address, excuse me, or call X number. Although if you're going to do call X number, I would highly suggest having a business number as opposed to a personal number for this thing. In that regard, one of the things that I've used for that is Cricket, which they allow you to make a alternative number that can be called so that your personal phone doesn't get blown up with a whole bunch of calls. It's just you have the business number phone that you keep on hand so that you're ready and raring to go, and you always know when you're going, when you get the phone and go, mush mush, business here, as opposed to going, mush mush, I'm here. So that's important. It's not absolutely important, but it's one of the ways, it's one of those business foo things. It allows you to be in a proper mindset whenever you're answering the phone. Anyway, Playables, that's what I was talking about. So yeah, you want to get your stuff out to particular streamers, and there are different ways to find them. Ideally, you want to be looking at whatever platforms that you frequent the most. So if you are on the YouTubes most commonly, which is what most people are on these days, then you want to be looking for, you know, someone like Markiplier or Septiceye. I know I keep saying those two names over and over again. I'm not as well versed in the streamer space as others might be. But if you just look up top 10 streamers, you might be able to find them. Although the top 10s may not reply back to you. I've had experience with that, where it's just, you know, these guys are the most covered. If you're a nobody, chances are they might not respond to you. Chances are high that they might not respond to you, because they got their inbox is just like chock full of stuff, and you know, there are a whole bunch of like great ideas getting thrown at them, so they gotta pick and choose. So if you find somebody that's kind of on their way up, that's probably one of your best bets. Is, you know, they're getting some backerage. Not backerage. They're getting some support and some viewership. So they need content, and you can supply them with that. So that's another angle to look at it. And I've seen a couple of YouTube channels that do indie retrospectives. I know the one that comes to mind is the why am I blanking on their names? Oh well, there are a couple channels that actually do retrospectives and just perspectives on random indie game X, random indie game Y. Although I haven't seen many well-traveled ones that have really super caught on. At least ones where that's their primary focus. So let's say that that's an opportunity for someone to fill. Although it's always difficult with those, and now I'm going off on a slight tangent, but I'm going to go off on this tangent a little bit just to explore it, but it is a little bit difficult with those because for indie stuff, budget's a little bit smaller, not as many people are going to be seeing it, and you're doing the indie group a service by showing off their stuff. But it's also the thing that your content is going to be competing with, say, Battlefield 2042, which just came out and is like a ridiculous trailer. It's like, that's hyper entertaining. People are going to watch that like 5 times. And then you've got this indie trailer for an awesome game that you believe in and you want it to be out there, and you have to compete with that thing. You're like, it has a tornado in it. What am I going to do about that? There's a person gliding in a tornado. I can't compete with that. But don't be discouraged. The important thing is that you're doing a service, and you gotta think about it from that angle. You gotta think about it from the angle that you are providing a service to the indies and to the players who really want to see new blood get into the industry. And that's important. That's not nothing. So if you're going to do something like that, you want to structure your platform around that idea of kind of doing the service, and perhaps even making it so that not only do you take their video of their thing and say, hey, here's the trailer for the thing, and you play it, but maybe even get in contact with the indie themselves and be like, hey, what's your story? Because people like a good story. That's one of the things I found. People like a good story. That'll get more backers on board, and that'll also help with your personal content. So it's a win-win. And that's what you want. You want a win-win. Anyway, back to Playables. The other bit of it is, so like I said, we got it up on itch very quickly because there weren't very many requirements. Now, there is a Steam demo in the works, but there's a lot of hoops you have to jump through to actually get your demo up onto Steam. Particularly, that it has, because Steam has essentially a form of curation. Just a couple of little things. Like, you got the paywall, which is $100, which isn't much, but it's enough to deter trolls. Well, most trolls. Some trolls have, like, all the money in the world. They're just like, whatever. I'll pay $100 to pull one over you. But, yeah, the deal is, so you got the $100 paywall, and then you've got the different logo types that you're going to need, and there's a whole bunch of different numerics there. Like, there's a 241 by 213, or each one has its own very specific sizing measure, and some of them feel a little bit arbitrary. And I can't help but think that might be a part of the whole gating aspect of just making sure that not anybody gets onto Steam. The people that are actually willing to do the work get onto Steam, essentially. So there's that. And I would say for any other aspiring platforms, outside of itch, which I think is a growing one, and I think it's a good one to jump in on, that having it be easy to get your demo up and to get support, I think that's going to be a good play. Additionally, because crypto is a thing and it's not going away, getting an understanding of exactly how that works and how you can accept it. Because A, that's going to be lucrative for you, having people pay you in crypto. But also, it's going to be good for the other people that are going to be doing this sort of interaction, particularly with either the rise and fall of crypto, or, being able to accept Doge. If you really want to accept Doge, not really that. If you want to accept Doge, go right ahead. I mean, it's a cute little So, but accepting Bitcoin, accepting Ethereum, Cardano, or Polkadot, any one of those, Ravencoin, accepting any one of those is, I think, it's a good thing to get a handle on, because the market is small right now, small-ish. I mean, it's growing, but I think it's something to keep your eyes on, because having that alternative pay method, that might save your bacon in the future. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Just talking a little bit about what you want to do with your playables. And admittedly, the foo strats are pretty simple. It's have it visible on your page in the first viewing session, which admittedly our group kind of failed, but that's beside the point. Have it viewable on your page immediately. So see the trailer, see the back of this thing, and then have the link right below the story, right below the story section, just right there, so people can be like, "Oh, I see the game. I want to try it. I'm there. I'm trying it." And additionally, hosting groups, itch.io, I think is a very simple one, but definitely look around, see if you've got, see what other options are there, because I think it's good for us to actually have a few competing groups out there doing this sort of thing. And also get your game out to a streamer. And, it doesn't even necessarily have to be the demo that you're giving out to your customers. It can be a different build of the game that highlights something that you think the streamer would be interested in. Oh, if you really know the streamer, then maybe even just put them in the game and say, like, hey, if you play the game, you'll find your name and your character in here. I mean, that would be a thing, make it a hunt. Make it fun for them, because that's a part of their content. So yeah, have a demo, put it where it's immediately visible, get it out to streamers, put it onto a platform that has some pass-through, and make it fun, make it informative. By that I mean informative to the way the game plays. And, in general, have fun making it too. Because if you're not having fun making it, why are you doing it? I mean, a game is basically a glorified toy. Well, okay, that's not actually true. Not per my definition of what a game is, but that's beside the point. Game is ultimately something to have fun with, and so if you're not having fun making it, what are you doing? So, with that, I'm going to say we're going to the sign-off now. So, play the games you want to play, boyos. This is Redcoat, signing off.